Make sure you might start. If everyone would stand, we will call this City Council meeting to order. At this time, we'll have a word of silence. Thank you. I will ask Councilwoman Tammy Mitchell if she will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome to the Georgetown City Council for Monday, November 24th, 25, excuse me. All right. And we're here to conduct business for the city of Georgetown. And we ask council to remember that when you're speaking, please turn your microphone on, and when you're not speaking, turn them off so we don't have no background on that. Also, remember that we have a decorum here. We expect that when you come and speak, please be able to tell your name, especially for the record, and also, again, just be mindful of what we're trying to do here business-wise. We'll go through the agenda as read. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mrs. Wilkins-Brent.
Here.
Mr. Crisp.
Here.
Mrs. Hamper. Mr. Hampton.
Here.
Mr. Minky.
Present.
Mrs. Lesby Mitchell.
Here.
Mrs. Tingle Saints.
Here.
Mr. Stone.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, item 3, approval of minutes for November 10th, 2025 regular meeting. At this time, council, I will entertain a motion.
I'll motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Brent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hambrick. Are there any questions and or concerns? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Next, item 4, receipt of the check registry. If you have received those, please raise your hand. Let the record reflect that all have received. Thank you. Item number 5 is public comments. Once again, when you come up, please state your name. Also, speaking to the mic, you will have 4 minutes which to address this council. At 3 minutes, Madam Clerk will let you know that time and that you have 1 minute left. And then once that is time has elapsed, she will let you know at that time. We will ask that you then at that time, please take your seat so that we can be respectful and mindful that all others that would like to speak. We have Steve Glass on housing. Is that right, Steve?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Quick, wait just a minute.
So I was going through my electronic copy of the meeting agenda, and I don't see the check register in there.
On mine either.
Okay,
You would be correct.
You have a
My
paper.
apologies.
yeah,
Where is it?
Well, you're correct. My
Okay.
apologies.
okay,
Yeah.
We'll double up next time, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
okay, I got, well,
Please amend
mine,
my vote.
Yeah, mine too, because it
Okay.
didn't come through on mine.
okay. All right, we will have to, we'll double up on that next time. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Glass. Now continue, please.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. I want to talk about the Office of Affordable Housing and Homeless Prevention. And in the second paragraph, it says, office does not provide any direct services such as rental or utility assistance. If there is an immediate need, the office recommends contacting one of our strong local nonprofits who provide a variety of client services. Anyway, I wanted to, the city's involvement in housing, I'd like to quote our former president, Joe Biden, and his response a lot of times to things where it's don't get involved in housing. Because when the government gets involved in things, it always results in a shortage. One of our council members has said that he doesn't like apartments because they're cheap and temporary. Well, a lot of people live in apartments. Probably about a third of our population. So if you attempt to stop housing, stop the free market system, a lot of us are going to be in the category of we can't afford housing, because a shortage without decreasing demand is going to increase the price. We all know that. In fact, since the Office of Affordable Housing was created, the city has purchased at least 2 houses that I know of that could have been modified and renovated and used for housing, and tore them down. When the county decided to build the new Justice Building, there were about 7 or 8 houses there on West Washington that were, people lived in them, they tore them down. So I can't believe the Administrative Office of the Courts, in conflict with your all's concern about housing, would have demanded that those houses be torn down to make place for the new Justice Building. I can't believe government would want people to be homeless. As far as homeless is concerned, I think it's a good effort. We need to get people off the streets in some place where they're safe and can be cared for. But as far as making housing more affordable, you guys can't do it. So this idea of buying this motel and renovating that, that's not going to help anything. What you need to do is make sure we keep building houses. Let the free market system work and stay out of the way. Because the complaint that housing doesn't pay for itself, it does pay for itself. Because a lot of people in those houses live and work in Georgetown, they pay taxes. So anyway, that's my sermon for the evening.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Dan Holman, 21st Century Water Vision.
Hello, Council, Mayor. I'm Dan Holman from Georgetown. So I wanted to talk about GMWSS water issues again, of which there are many. But tonight, there's board appointments are on the agenda, and of many boards throughout town, which that's important because all these boards, serve important functions. So the GMWSS board, four members are ending their term. There's 4 vacancies at the end of the year. So basically, the whole most of this board is being replaced. And so one question, it would just be nice. This is a good opportunity to ask questions about mainly what is the purpose of the board. And that's unclear. Is it, the board it appears to be fairly political. Like everyone on there is not really a regular person. They all have kind of outside political influences. The 3 people up tonight, one's a lobbyist in Frankfurt, one is an executive at Toyota, and the other one is he is employed by a think tank in Washington, D.C. So these are all valuable, these people have valuable insights, and they should definitely be invited into the conversation, but they just don't necessarily represent the average person it seems the purpose of the board should probably be to focus on quality of water and cost of water. So you want some sharp and passionate people on there who that's what they're focused on, and they're not thinking strategy. And then the strategy of water should kind of come from the elected officials. It should come from city council. And so there's lots of venues for that to occur. We should probably have, there's just different ideas that you could do it. We should probably have quarterly workshops, bless you. We should have a quarterly water workshop where some of these people tonight who are on the board should come and speak to us and tell us their insights. So these water board meetings are, frankly, I've been going to a few of them. They're about as boring as some of the other committee meetings around here, which they're valuable, but there's not many citizens watching. It's kind of quiet, and they just kind of get through it. and move on it. But then I'm sure that at times they're talking about, there's more dynamic conversation. But so these, anything that involves so don't think, like in case any of you who have never been to these water board meetings, don't think that that you're not qualified to be a part of the conversation. You all are the elected leaders. You represent the 40,000 people in this town, and you all should kind of be taking the lead about this stuff. And so, yeah, it's one question is the water board. We should look at it again. It was set up in 1945, and I think this ordinances were last edited and amended in 1983, all before Toyota came. So the last 40 years.
That's 3 minutes.
So it's kind of it's a small town entity, and now we're in the 21st century, and there's kind of a concern that over the last 40 years, it's unclear what this group, which at the time, we only had a part-time mayor, so they were actually just paying the bills. They had a treasurer that just would write the checks. But now, there's a finance director, so why do you really need the treasurer? So just looking at the water board, and so I think before you all pass these appointments tonight, it's a good opportunity to ask the mayor who made these recommendations, what is your vision of what the water board should be doing, and what is your criteria in selecting people? Because some people were passed over, some sharp people. I didn't apply, by the way. But there are sharp people who applied, and they were not selected, and now the application has been extended. So if the mayor could explain in writing, possibly by next meeting, like what is his vision of the water board, and what is his criteria for what he wants the people on there to be doing, and then you all could
That's 4 minutes.
decide that's the time to make the approvals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, before my mayor's comments, because there's a list of these, we're going to go over these appointments tonight. I'm going to pivot up a little bit. Item number 10 will be moved up. That is the municipal order for the Stockyard Bank's reinvestment. So Stacy, I'll let you come up and talk about that.
Thank you, Mayor. We have our account managers from Stockyards Bank here tonight if there's any questions on this one. So that's why I asked the mayor if he'd be willing to move this one up. We've had our $5 million, started with $5 million Stockyards Bank account for several years now. We went out, did that through an RFP, and we had about $2.2 million in cash from matured investments within that account. And they came to the Finance Committee meeting last Monday and presented a proposal. And this money, we don't need it to be liquid at this time. We have plenty of cash balance in our other accounts. And they proposed through KRS 66.480, which you all have a copy of in your packet, some other investment options that we could do instead of U.S. Treasuries. So you have the proposal in your packet, and it shows that the $2.2 million they would like to invest, they've recommended to invest in $250,000 tranches in taxable municipal bonds, other agencies under this, and you can see in here, in the packet that you have, they'll show like what a treasury would yield. All of these will yield a little bit higher, but for 2 to 7 year maturities. So a little bit longer than we've been doing with some of it. And just wanted to get your all's approval on that. And in case I butchered any of that, we have Owen and Selena here who can answer any questions. I just want to make sure you know the copies of the securities, the screenshots that were in the packet, those are examples or samples of what they will purchase. Obviously, the day they go to market to purchase this $2.2 million, it will be what's available on that day. But just a different, all within the, according to legislature, what we're allowed to purchase. Just some longer maturities that will lock us in this kind of changing environment and get us a little higher yield than what some of those treasuries that we've been investing in would. And since we don't need this account to be liquid, it's a good time to make this different kind of investment. So if you have any questions specifically about the investment types, I'll defer to Owen and Selena.
So is this the yield rate here, the 4 to 4.5?
Yes, that's their target yield. And as you can see, they say treasuries would get us between 3.4 and 3.7. So this different type of different type of investments will yield a little higher rate. And we can afford to do that over that 2 to 7 year maturity because we don't need access.
And CDs just plain old CDs didn't pay that much?
Some of the short-term ones, I know our one at We have a large CD at Central Bank has dropped below 4%. Our account manager at Central Bank recently notified me of that, so we'll be talking about, reinvestment of that money as well in the near future with the Finance Committee, so.
So what,
So we'll be looking at some CDs in the future as well. This is just this one, we're not investing more money with Stockyards, this is just investments that have matured and the cash balance is
This is
available.
the best they can do?
I can speak a little bit.
I will
more.
definitely
come
defer
on.
to Owen on that.
Yeah, so Owen Armand with Stockyards Bank here. So yeah, these are sort of the best market yields that we can get in what we view as risk-free securities. So treasuries, obviously backed by the U.S. government, viewed as risk-free. These are, government-sponsored entities, agencies like Federal Home Loans Bank, stuff that is implicitly guaranteed by the government. So these are options that we view as risk-free spread opportunities to treasuries. So you can get incremental yield over what you could get in the U.S. Treasury.
So if something was a higher rate, you would probably say it's a risk.
It is not, so the reason that you get a higher yield in these is because of the structure of the product. So for example, and some of the examples that we have in the back, one might be what we call a callable agency bond, and this has optionality built into it. So this is a security that looks like it might mature in 5 years, but the agency has the right to call it in, say, 6 months. And so you're selling the optionality to the agency. So for that, they compensate you with more yield.
all right. Yes,
Mayor. So I'm not sure who the right person is for this question, if it's Stacy or maybe the Finance Committee, but so of the percentage that we're talking about for this amount, 2.2 million, what's the percentage of the minimum balance that we're trying to maintain that you all feel comfortable utilizing this method for versus liquidity?
I think what you're talking about is our investment policy.
Right.
It's 15, it's the 15%,
Yes,
and this doesn't factor into that 15%. Is that correct?
this would be, this is part of our minimum fund balance requirement, so
okay,
I know we're talking about that a little bit later in
Right.
conjunction with that. So I believe it was 15 million was our minimum
Yes.
fund balance, so of that 15, 5 million is in this account with Stockyards, so about 30% of it is there right now.
And if I could speak to the liquidity, since these are government securities,
Sure.
they're very liquid products that if you need the cash tomorrow, we could sell.
As I say, could you please explain the call on them?
So
And any
going back to the
penalties.
callable security, so say, for example, Federal Home Loans Bank issues a 5-year agency bond. In the callable agency example, for example, there's a 6-month call built in. They have the right to redeem that in 6 months, say if rates went down, and they can refinance that at a lower rate. So that's why you have the spread opportunity, because you're selling the optionality. But with any of these securities that we've proposed, they are ultra-liquid securities. They're government securities. It's a liquid market that you can get in and out of as soon as you need.
Without penalty?
The only penalty you would have would be, so if you owned it so bonds pay interest semi-annually usually. So say you sold it after owning it for 3 months, you would give up the next 3 months of accrued interest
Sure.
because
Sure.
you get what you were accrued.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And this is not all the money we have with Stockyards Bank. This is 2.2 million, right?
Yeah, so the total of the account is, a little bit over 5,
Little,
and we've
yeah.
had 2.2 roughly mature in the past few months, and this is just an opportunity to reinvest. Yeah.
And one of the reasons that we chose this was because right now it's a volatile interest rate. We've been getting great interest rate, but it's been coming down. And so this is something where we can lock in where it is now. And if it keeps coming down, we're locked in at this rate, so.
And to kind of go for the shorter investments that you guys have been in, it made sense a lot in the past couple of years when the yield curve was inverted, meaning that you could make a lot more money owning short bonds than going out. Now we have a steepening yield curve, so it makes sense to own some longer maturities.
okay. All right. At this time, I will entertain a motion.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hampton. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of the municipal order for Stockyard Banks and Reinvestment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. Let the record reflect that it passed.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's swing back up to Mayor's comments. We'll go with item A, which is the proclamation for the 250th anniversary of Georgetown, Kentucky's founding. And Madam Clerk, if you will read the proclamation.
Yes, sir. Proclamation 250th anniversary of Georgetown, Kentucky's founding. Whereas John McClellan arrived at Royal Spring from western Pennsylvania in October 1775 with his family and 6 young men. And whereas McClellan and the 6 men built a large house on the bluff overlooking Royal Spring in December 1775. And whereas more members of McClellan's family and friends arrived in April of 1776, and whereas a raid on nearby Leestown in late April by a band of Indian warriors prompted a hurried building of stockades and improvements to fortifications across the region. And whereas a stockade and blockhouse incorporating McClellan's house was built with the help of men from other settlements in the autumn of 1776 and was given the name McClellan's Station. And whereas a party of Wyandotts led by Chief Pluggy attacked the station on December 29, 1776, and whereas the settlers successfully defended themselves when the Wyandotts withdrew after the death of their leader, and whereas John McClellan, one of 4 casualties, died of his wounds on January 6, 1777, and whereas McClellan Station, being the only settlement north of the Kentucky River and the first to be attacked, sounded the alarm to the other Kentucky settlements that the Indian Wars had begun. And whereas the surviving occupants, realizing their settlement was too isolated and vulnerable.
Excuse me, Madam Clerk. We need to hear this, please, so let's, outside chatter, please. Thank you.
Abandoned
Thank you.
McClellan Station on January 30th, 1777, and whereas the site of McClellan Station remained vacant until the 1787 arrival of Reverend Elijah Craig, who laid out the town that became Georgetown, Kentucky. Now therefore, I, Bernie Jenkins, Mayor of Georgetown, do hereby proclaim November 2025 to November 2026 as Georgetown's 250th anniversary celebration and urge all citizens to observe and participate in activities throughout the year. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Georgetown to be affixed on this 24th day of November 2025.
Thank you. And here representing for that 250th anniversary is Mr. Glenn Tall, historian here in Georgetown. Everybody knows him. So Glenn, if you will come up, we will present that to you. Thank you. On behalf of the city of Georgetown.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, item number, Mayor's comments, let's start down here. This is gonna take a while. This is a long list, you see, of the appointments that is here. Before I start, first of all, let me say to you and all of those who have applied and all those who have served, thank you very much. One of the hardest things to do is to ask people to come and serve on committees. Sometimes it's difficult to get some people, but I want to let you know that it's one of the difficult things to do is getting people to come in and do this. But on the same token, those who have dedicated themselves for this have been extremely helpful to the city, and this is important. And I don't take this lightly on these appointments. It takes a lot of time, and we make sure that the process that I use is that I look for people that actually fit that particular job for that particular committee. And because you want that committee to be functional, and you want that committee to be something where it gives to the best interest of people. I look for people who's dedicated. I look for people who's actually looking at Georgetown as what they're there for and understand what their role is. I look for people that's also not going to be just sit on the sidelines. I look for people that's going to get involved and also listen to people when they have concerns and some place to go to. So these are things to look at. And again, I don't take this very lightly. I take pride in this, and the people that's being selected for this or be recommended to you all are people that went through the process. I had conversation with just about everybody on this list, so therefore I feel comfortable on a couple, and that I'm going to make two changes here. One is that, and again, apologies for any kind of confusion that this may have caused. One of them is Mr. John Sosby. I will not be bringing him forward tonight because of the fact that I've tried to contact him, and he has not reached back out to him, so I'll be reaching back out. The other one is Ann Hubert. I'm going to pivot in another direction with that. That being said, we'll start with A, which is, B, Executive Order for the Board of Adjustments, Mr. Frank Allen.
Mayor, if we could, and I know you've got a lot of appointments this week and then on the next one. One thing that, and I know quite a few people on this list personally, but there's some of the council members that probably do not know some. I would, this is just a recommendation to me, I would like to ask if we could postpone these until next week, until the next council meeting. And before the council meeting, you know, if we can get these as quick as we can, get information on these people to all the council members, resumes, if it's an appointment or if it's a reappointment. I know that's going to take some work, but just so we have information, because right now, I mean, you know, I know them, but, you know, some of the others may not know. That's,
And if I'm,
present a problem.
well, I believe most of these reappointments was brought to this council, or some of these people on this council earlier. So, Mr.
Yes, I was actually, Todd, going to propose, you know, I know there's a lot here tonight, and we've got several coming up, I guess, next meeting and through, I guess, through probably the rest of the year that are
Right.
very important appointments. What I would like to suggest is, and I agree with you on the appointments and reappointments, in the future, that the council be able to get some sort of update resume or something even for the reappointments, because we got new council members that may not know them, that, you know, need to see their background and everything. So I'd like to propose that we, you know, for the next round, we start this process, and being that we have a lot tonight, let's get through these and get them done. They're all reappointments except for one, and as the mayor said, I mean, you know, we've known these people, we've appointed them before, or previous councils have. So,
And I think the one that is not a reappointment, we did get the resume and the background on, correct?
We did.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
The one perspective that I would raise, and I shared with you earlier, I think there may be a lot of confusion out there around, first of all, the process in terms of applications and things like that, and then the communication of deadlines and things like that, recognizing there are a lot of appointments, and I don't think it's so clear, you know, that there are more appointments out there and those kinds of things, and I just think it's really muddy. I've spent a lot of time on the phone today and over the weekend with a lot of folks that are asking lots of questions, and I think a lot of it stems from the process. So, you know, I think we need to take a look at that process and, you know, not to stop things that need to happen this year, but I do think we need to really look at that process and nail that down. You know, just the sheer fact of, I tried to go in to the websites and look for who's on the board today. You know, some of the websites, you know, have it and have very good breakdowns, like planning and zoning, but others, I couldn't find who was on the board anywhere. And so I think just from a transparency perspective.
That's exactly right.
And to be able to lay out for folks, these are the boards and these are the terms, and here's when the next opportunity may have for a board that I may or somebody may want to get on and contribute. That way it could be very strategic in their planning as well as our planning.
Okay. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, I think you want to put that in form of a motion to do that, or just a recommendation?
I mean, the council, Kim, I mean, your comment about future, are you talking about going ahead and doing these tonight and then revamping the system after this? Or what do you envision?
I think there needs to be clarity on the process.
I totally agree.
Tonight. But just as you and Todd both have mentioned, that, you know, we need to staff the boards. I've been on boards that we have not been staffed, and basically it's a hindrance to be able to do the work of the board without a full complement
Yes.
of board members.
That is right.
So I don't want to delay that any
Right.
further than we need to, but I do think we need clarity, and between now and next meeting, you know, certainly we could have that clarity, or if there's things we can do today to make folks clear that there are more opportunities out there, not just the ones that you're proposing tonight.
Any other? All right, then I'll go down the list here. So the executive order for Board of Adjustment, Mr. Frank Allen. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Are there questions and/or comments? All those in favor of appointing to the Board of Adjustment, Mr. Frank Allen, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 2,
Mayor.
yes,
So was Frank a reappointment?
yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you please clarify?
Okay, I'm sorry,
in
thank
each
you.
of those cases?
All
I
right.
thought that was the case,
Yes.
but I wanted to make
Okay.
sure.
So,
And can I, I'm sorry, I might be out of order to say this. Somewhere in this, we want to say, I think what I'm hearing and the way I feel about it is that we need to review this, take the time that it takes to review how appointments are made and the terms of those, and make them crystal clear. And we're, you know, right now, we're under the gun because it's the end of the year, and everything you're giving us tonight is a reappointment.
except
So
for
we
one.
do, except for the one.
Yeah.
And in that case, we did get the background
Yes.
information. So these, at least we do know that the people are currently operating on the boards and there are no problems.
That's correct.
So I'm okay with voting for those and for the other, because we do have the background information. However, before we move forward, even if they're reappointments, things change between councils, et cetera. So maybe in January, for the next ones, right, for the next ones, you make sure we get the background.
Absolutely.
And then in January, we step back and look at the process so that we have plenty of time to update and make.
And Mayor, if it's not out of order after all these, I can make a motion for that recommendation.
Okay.
For that.
Yeah, that would be good.
And I don't want to take it's not taking the power away from me. I just want, because like I say, I've coached football with Frank Allen. I've known Frank Allen for and a lot of these others. And I just want the other council members to be able to study them, know what they're about, and
I have no issues with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mayor, just one other point. So at some point in this process tonight, can we identify how many remaining open board memberships there are
Yes.
to this process?
Yes.
So that the general public
Yeah.
knows that, and which ones they are?
Okay. And Devin, you have that? Okay. I'll let-
Didn't we get that? We got an email on
Yeah,
that, right?
Thought you did.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll let Devin come up and share that to me, or what's left.
And Mayor, is the deadline for applications still open?
It's the 28th, isn't it? 28th of this month.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Mayor, may I clarify?
Yep,
I want to comment on power or taking anything. All of these appointments or reappointments tonight and the boards that they're on, these are all the mayor's recommendation, subject to approval of the council.
Right.
So all of these do require the council to vote,
Approved.
yes,
Right.
for these individuals to be appointed. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, so, yeah. That's why we bring this to you up, because of, these are just recommendations from the mayor, and then, of course, you all have to put the final appointment part. These are, like I said, these are just recommendations, and then you all actually doing the appointing part on that, okay? All right, so, so I guess I need to, we did vote, so, on that. So, let's go, item C, this is a reappointment, Georgetown Board of Adjustments, Virginia Teague. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Hambrick. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Minky. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Moving on to item D. This is a reappointment for Georgetown Board of Ethics, Renee Clausey Upton. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Hampton. Are there further questions and or comments? All right, I'm going to move down to all those in favor. All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. Moving down to item G, which is executive order for a reappointment to the Board of Ethics. And I'm gonna butcher his name up here. It's Guy, is it Cozy?
It's Gee.
Guy. Okay, all right, thank you. Guy Cozy is a reappointment to the Board of Ethics. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Second made by Ms. Brent. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Next is a reappointment for executive order for the Georgetown Housing Authority Board of Commissioners is Patricia Harmon.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Minky. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Ms. Hambrick. Do I have any further questions and or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. I, executive order. This is a reappointment for Georgetown Human Rights Commission. Ms. April,
I want to recuse myself because that's a relative.
okay, all right,
Just give her a second.
okay.
Can I ask before she leaves? Sanja, would you, what kind of relative? I'm sorry, immediate family?
Yeah.
Okay, cousin. It's a cousin? Yes. Okay.
All right. So this is a reappointment, and for Georgetown Human Rights Commission, Ms. April Baker.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Mr. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Hampton. Are there further questions and or comments? All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. If you want to go get her, I'll wait. Excuse me. All right. Let the record reflect that that motion passed. Item J, executive order. This is a reappointment for the Georgetown Municipal Water Sewer Service Board of Commissioners, Jason Beard. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion is made by Ms. Hambrick. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Minky. Are there further questions and/or comments?
Question.
Yes.
How long has Jason, this is his second term now, but has he been on the water board before this?
No, he's not.
So these two are
Yes.
Jason's? Okay,
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
good.
Okay. Are there any other questions? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Let the record reflect. I'm gonna go to L and then come back to K, okay? On L, this is a reappointment for Georgetown Municipal Water Sewer Service Board of Commissioners, Jeff Clark. This is his second term on this, so it's a reappointment, and at this time, I will entertain a motion.
Motion made.
A motion made by Mr., who gets it? I'm gonna give it to you today. I'm gonna give it to you on this one. Motion made by Mr. Minky. Do I have a second? I'll give it to you, Mr. Hampton. Are there further questions and/or comments?
Yes, on Jeff, I know for sure this may be his reappointment, his second term of this reappointment, but how many terms has he totally served on the water board? Because he was on there when I was mayor. And I know there was at least 2 terms then, and so I'm curious on how many
Okay.
is in
Well-
between.
I'm not for sure on that. All I know of that, I can postpone on this one here and come back and bring this back later after I get information on
And
that.
the only reason I'm bringing it up is not because I think he's extremely good or extremely bad or anything like that. I don't have a feeling that way, but since we seem to be having so much conversation about the water company, that I know your third appointment is totally someone new.
Right.
And I think he's totally someone pretty new in the community.
Mhm.
So it's a fresh set of eyes. So Jeff has been on there for so long, and Jason and Jeff both lived out in the county. Now, we did an ordinance a few years ago that allowed a county resident to be on the water board, even though it's city water board, because we have lines out in the county. But if we have, what do we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on the water board, and 2 of the 5 are out in the county, I'd rather have 4 in the city, maybe 1 representing in the county, but I know Jeff has been on there more than 1 term. He's been on there legally, like on and off. I
Okay.
don't know how many on and offs he's been on there.
Well, I will take it upon that. Let me do a little,
Okay.
we'll postpone this one here, and I'll bring back some information, and we'll bring this back on the next set. I will add him to the next set we'll bring it back to council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
It would be more appropriate for someone on the council to make the motion.
okay, yes.
Do we have to pull back on the?
Now, you just make a motion that I table this to,
Okay.
this
I'll
recommendation.
make a motion to table Jeff's until we find out more information.
All right, that motion is made, and then second here. Are there further questions and/or comments?
Just a quick question. So what is appropriate and inappropriate?
What do you mean?
Well,
What does that mean?
well, if he did 1 term 5 years ago, 10 years ago, is that appropriate, or is any term? I just don't know what the standard is we're trying to get to.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll repeat what I said. He's been on there, I would like to know how many terms he's been on there. What is appropriate is if he's been on there 2 terms, he sets off, he can come back. That is appropriate. But what I'm saying is, because I think we need some new eyes in the water company, on the water board, to maybe do some more checks and balances. You know, Chase is trying his best to maybe bring some new people in, like the mayor's doing the next gentleman, bringing new people in to have new suggestions, new ideals, new energy.
Okay.
So I have nothing at all to say about this gentleman, negative or positive.
Right.
I'm just saying, when you have the same, and maybe that falls for somebody on the council like myself. You're here, he has the historical value, which is positive, but maybe it's been too long. But I'm just saying, I would like to, because of the controversy that's going on with the water company, and the folks that do not have faith in the water company right now, to have some new board members, and maybe that would help reinstall the faith of the public in the water company, in the water board. That's it. That's just personal opinion. It's not a right or a wrong.
I was just asking for clarity.
Okay,
I do have a question, too. So if I understand this correctly, these are supposed to be recommendations from the mayor. And the mayor is recommending this person, and some of us may think that that much experience is a bad thing, and some of us may think that that much experience is a good thing. And so we had a motion to vote on it and a second, and I don't understand why we're not voting on it. And then if we want to vote no, because we think he has too much, he's been on it too long, we can vote no. And if we, I mean, and then, I don't know. It's your recommendation, Mayor.
yes, it is, but I think she's asking that to be tabled, and so we had a motion on the floor, so we need to come back to that first one. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, or we just simply go with what we got here.
The motion to table is a subsidiary motion.
Okay.
So you can interrupt the original motion
Okay.
and vote on that. If that motion had failed, you would go back to the
Thank you.
original motion.
Okay, got it, thank you, ma'am. So we'll go with this here, and her motion was that to actually make a recommendation to get information on this individual as to how many he has served, and then bring this back on December 8th with the other appointees that I need to make at that time. So that's what the motion is, and that's what we are voting on. So we had a motion, and it was properly second. So now we're going to vote. All those in favor of Ms. Same's motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. So what will happen here is for Mr. Jeff Clark, we will bring him back with the, on the December the 8th, when I bring in the rest of those. And the last one is the executive order. This is a new appointment for the Georgetown Municipal Water Sewer Service Board of Commissioners. Mr. Kent Chandler, you have received from a background on him, his resume. At this time, I will entertain a motion.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Mr. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Ms. Sames. Are there any further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. At this time, I think you ought to ask about what's coming up next. So Devin, if you come and give us an outlay of what's coming up on the next, on
Yes.
December 8th. Thank you.
So the remaining appointments to be made, which these are currently advertised on our social media page for applications to be accepted through close of business this Friday. We have one appointment to the Human Rights Commission, one more appointment to the Georgetown Municipal Water and Sewer Service Board of Commissioners, one appointment to Georgetown Scott County Parks and Recreation Board, one appointment to the Planning Commission, one appointment to the Joint Code Enforcement Board, and one appointment, as you heard Mr. Burke speak of at the last meeting, to the Property Valuation Local Board of Assessment Appeals. So that is total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In addition, the mayor mentioned earlier shifting away from a reappointment on the Ethics Board, so that will need to be advertised as well. Still need to talk, Mayor, about what we want to do in terms of timeline for allowing additional applications there, since that's a change of course. So that would be 7 total appointments, 1, 2, 3, 7 remaining appointments to make for 7 different boards.
With the delayed
What's that?
With the delayed
one.
as well.
Yes, 7 including the,
Delay.
oh, no, sorry, 8 including
Plus,
the delay.
yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Yes, that additional Georgetown Municipal appointment for Mr. Clocky, pending the information that's requested, so, yep.
All right.
Mayor, is this appropriate time for my?
Is it appropriate time to?
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that for all future reappointments to any board within Georgetown, that council be supplied with updated resumes or updated just biographies on any of your recommendations for appointment.
All right.
And just like to state that as well, too, that to add more transparency to the process for council and and for the public as well.
If we could add add to that what I just asked for tonight, if they have been previously
Yes,
on,
that-
appointed
Great idea. Thank you,
to a
Kathy.
city board or the board.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And can we add my comments from earlier
Yeah.
about reviewing the process and
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
updating the website?
let me add to that motion.
All right, so we have added 3 things to this motion, okay? So I'm assuring that one is to give
You're doing a
a
great job, Greg.
complete background on, summary background on everybody that's newly appointed.
With
Also,
previous history of appointments.
Appointment and also-
Into any board in Georgetown.
Any,
Yes.
it's not just new appointments, it's
Any.
Yes,
any
Yeah.
yes.
appointments.
okay, so,
And then we take a look at the process as soon as possible
yep,
And the website.
in website.
so,
There it is.
so,
I'll second that.
so Madam Clerk, do you have all that down, or you need a minute? Okay. All right. So you have heard the motion, and it's been properly made and properly second. Are there any other questions and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you.
And in the mayor's defense, it is really hard. These board appointments are so difficult. They really are not an easy task for the mayor to do on board appointments. So even though we're giving you a hard time on a couple of them, they're not easy.
Well,
Not an easy job.
Like I said, I'll stand by what the process is, and I'll stand by that. You know, it takes a lot of time. And again, I'm not taking this lightly with that. It is, you know, there's nights I go to bed, you know, don't sleep well. Because I do know the importance of this, and I do know we have good people. And sometimes you have to figure out which way one fits best, and sometimes some people that are good people don't happen to get, but it doesn't prevent them from reapplying, looking for other opportunities. Because we will have those when all this is, the new motion that was just passed about, you know, keeping updates, giving everybody on our website and transparency, people knowing the deadline, timeline for all this, I think it will be more beneficial, all right? So thank you for those comments. Item 7 is council committee reports. We have 2 for tonight. Finance, they're going to be a little bit talking about this tonight anyway, so I think Chairman asked that we would pass on that, and he will bring more information back at the next December 8th meeting. Next, we have Public Works. Is that correct? Or did we not?
Yes, we do, but
And you don't,
I don't have the notes.
okay, so, like I said, so we'll have 2 of these that we'll bring in. So we'll just, hey, nope, don't mind it, Pat. What we'll do is we'll push both of these onto our next meeting, and that should go along with probably, those who should be on that one will be that, plus also will be Police Committee will be the next one with that, I believe, because I think y'all meet December 1st. So we'll have those 3 to be added to that, so, all right.
Mayor, we did have a beautification committee meeting, and I can update on that.
Well,
if
you
you'd
can,
like.
well, let's hear the beauty of it. Let's go.
Okay, so an update on Peninsula, we met on the November the 13th, and what we did was we talked about the update on Peninsula Park, and they are currently in the process of planting trees. That started on the 17th. I went out with Darren Broyles, and we marked the spots for the blue spruces and some crepe myrtles. They're planted now, and we have more to come. We are also working on extending underneath the benches. We're extending the concrete to the walkways so that elderly people don't trip over roots trying to get to the benches, and strollers and et cetera. So that's going to be happening as we can do that. And that metal intersection type thing, if you've been out there, it looks like it belongs on the side of a highway. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's going to be taken down, and something will replace that because it looks janky. So, and Drew's people are taking care of that. So, the other item that we talked about was the green space on the corner of Clayton Avenue and South Broadway. And we had 3 drawings that people that had the equipment that are on the committee brought, and we looked at those and talked about them. And we kind of settled on the looks of one more than the other. And so what we're trying to do, we had a few tweaks to that one, and then we'll bring it forward after the next meeting, and maybe we'll have something to show you there. And then we also I met with Karen after the meeting to see if there were any grant opportunities for water mitigation, for trees, for education, for that area. And she's going to look into that, to see if there's ways to offset the cost of beautifying that spot. So that's what we did.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mitchell, for your update on that. And again, it's really good to see that in a lot of these citizens, this committee, maybe a lot of citizens that's taking part and really looking at trying to beautify our city in a positive way. So I'm glad to see that. So now we have item number 8, which is planning and zoning ordinance.
Okay, we have a little bit of an update from November the 5th and the 19th. On the meeting on the 12th was canceled due to my illness and the fact that there may not be a quorum because Mr. Minke was in Lexington. So we just thought it was easier just to cancel it. The meeting on the 5th, we talked about the definitions that are located in Article 2 and a little bit of the definitions in Article 4. Actually, that was a long meeting going over all of those. Items coming from that conversation, we need to make our definitions more clear, more precise. That's in there, and like I said, that pretty much took the entire meeting. But one of the questions that kind of surfaced through that was, how did our urban service boundaries get established? How do we do that? How do we do that? How do they come to be? Who's responsible for setting the urban service boundaries? So on the November the 19th meeting, which was quite informal on that meeting, we spent time on the urban service boundaries, the history. Our city attorney researched some of the histories. It was kind of interesting. The urban service boundaries were first used in the 70s, came about in the 70s. Our green space belt that we've always talked about, that we always assumed that we're keeping 25 kind of safe and green, that actually came out of a 1991 ordinance that tonight Emily has gotten for me that I will pass to the other committee members. And the only time that the council has passed a resolution to establish the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan, correct me if I'm wrong, was in 2007. So it's truly a thing that we have left out of the control of the council and kind of put over into the control of planning and zoning, which is something personally I think needs to be brought back to the council. So the urban service boundary has not been done by ordinance. Might be something the council considers to do the urban service boundaries by ordinance itself. We also discussed that the comp plan can be changed at any time, including the goals and objectives. It doesn't have to wait for the 5-year timetable. Mr. Minke presented a background document along with some definitions that need to be made clear and suggestions on how we update planning and zoning to make it more business friendly. And we also asked about a clearer definition, like on open spaces. That's one of the definitions. The next meeting, I asked for definitions on variances from other communities, so we can see if they treat variances different than what we did, because that's kind of how the discussion got us there in the first place. And as well as separating zoning, what applies to the city versus what applies to the counties, because if you read the goals and objectives, they're all kind of mixed together. So we are planning on having 2 more meetings. It will be December the 3rd, December the 17th, same time. And then we hope to have something a little bit more formal to present to the council in the first week of January, we hope. So that's it.
All right. Yes, sir.
Just a slight correction.
Okay.
I was in a meeting in Lexington on the 12th, but had every intention of leaving that early and coming up.
Well, I did not.
So-
I was sick.
So, the other thing, in our last meeting, I have an issue that I'd like to raise from a transparency standpoint. So, in our work group, we were working on our objective to develop this suggestions to bring back to the council to be able to consider. And part of the process that we set up for that there was a discussion about public participation in that activity. And the voted on agreement for that at the beginning of that process was there would be 1 minute allowed for each person that wanted to address the group at the end of the meeting to be able to provide feedback. Unfortunately, at the last meeting, and that one I was a little bit delayed in getting, about 15 minutes, due to my problem, we were having an open discussion for the entire meeting with a member of the public, rather than the process that we used. And I think from a transparency standpoint and from a uniformity, because a lot of folks, I believe, would have liked that opportunity to be in that kind of conversation. And I think being able to have two sets of standards, I think, never works. And so I just want to raise that concern. I think discussion is good and input is good, but there's a time and place for it. And we had set the standard that was not the time for general discussion, but receiving information in the 1 minute or in written form. We allowed for that as well. So I just wanted to raise that. That concerns me in being able, from a transparency standpoint. So I just wanted to raise that to the council.
And since Kim has raised that to me a little while ago, so I said, not a problem, we'll keep it more rigid and keep it to the agenda, so not a problem.
And so when we set this group up, the objective was to look at the ordinances and to come back to the council. And if you remember, we said, hopefully you would have reviewed each one of those and let us have something for us at the last meeting in November so that we could start the bigger process where we join the planning and zoning at the first of the year. So are you saying that that's not gonna?
January. The next two meetings with the holidays popping in here too.
Right.
Because that would be today.
So.
It will be the next two meetings for us to get it organized for January.
So what I'm wondering is, we did get the information from the planning and zoning, they're part of it. Their pre-meeting stuff. And I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and start at the new year with the bigger group. I mean, you will have something to present, because I guess, right? You may not have everything, but we can work out. This is like the top priorities, and so we can, when we get together as a big group, we can work out, if there was something you didn't get to, then we'll work it out together. Because I think, we set a time frame on it. We set the objectives to discuss. I'm not sure where urban boundaries came in on that. That wasn't, maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought it was just tied to certain criteria within those ordinances that we were trying to prioritize. That's something we can talk about for sure, but this subgroup, that's what I thought that we agreed to do, was give us some time to pick what we wanted to start with when we get together as a larger group and then get going on it. Does anybody else feel the same way or differently?
Any discussion?
Those three have got a heavy, heavy lift in doing this. So, if it takes a few extra meetings for them to get a little farther down the road, let them have it, is my thought on it. That's just me.
Well, there are going to be 2 before January, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, there's 2 before January.
Yeah, just 2 more. We've just got 2 more meetings before January, because originally we had said that we would meet, we'd meet every week. And then, of course, I got sick, so we didn't meet that week. And then after that, we were going to go every other week. And that will take us to the end of the year, especially with the holidays. So we really only got 2 more, and really at these 2 next meetings is for us to pick those things what we want to hone in on to bring back here. And what we bring back here will be a part of the ultimate goal of
Right.
the big group, but then let the big group after that start.
Yeah,
taking.
it doesn't hem us in. You guys just
No.
tell us where you want to start.
Right.
So you have 2 more meetings and that, I mean, so you don't end on,
Yeah.
at the end of November.
Right.
You end so that we're ready at the first meeting
Right.
in January, we're ready to move forward.
That's our goal. So hopefully we get there. But Todd is right. The problem, which
lot.
is a good problem, once you start peeling a layer back,
Right.
then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So yeah.
Right. And I would say, too, that there's a lot of people, and they usually come to the meetings, that would like to be involved in the decision-making of this. And it really disappoints me that we open the meeting up and let somebody take part in it throughout the meeting, but that's just one person, not other people who would have liked to have done that. And for a reason, we said, we want the council people that are elected representatives to get in the weeds on this. It's a lot. But we wanted the council people to do it. We didn't want to put another person on the committee at this point. When we open up the committee with planning and zoning, I think we talked about having a public person, somebody from the public appointed. And so I would say it disappoints me that I think we were kind of out of bounds on that meeting. And I would hope that we wouldn't do that again, that we would keep it to the legal kind of meeting that we're supposed to be having.
I have a follow-up to that, Mayor. One question first. Is there a chairperson of the committee?
I am.
Okay. And so respectfully, if we could ask for any of these committee meetings, because we have a lot of committee meetings.
Right.
And to any committee I've ever been on, we've never allowed the public to actively participate in the committee. And so I think the chairperson has the onus of saying, you have 60 seconds or whatever has been decided, and we can't have the public actively participate in the discussion. Because I feel like we've been elected to represent Georgetown constituents, and when a person or a couple of people from the community come and actively participate, they're just representing themselves. We've been elected to represent a community of constituents. And so I think it's important, unless we change the rules, which we can do, to stick with, okay, these are supposed to be committees. I thought it was generous to be able to allow somebody to speak if they wanted to, but I think we need to keep tight to what has been decided.
Mayor, I'd like to call that there's a motion on the floor. It has not been seconded, but we need to do that before we need to.
Continue on. For the discussion.
take-
So I had a motion on the floor. There's a possible second. Yes, is there a second?
Make a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Second made by Mr. Minke. Now, are there any further questions and or comments? We got the rolling here, and we just kind of went our work different ways. Are there any other questions and or comment to this?
Only thing in defense of myself, I love to hear from the public. Maybe to a fault that I like to hear from the public. So the meeting was informal, too informal with Kim, made him uncomfortable, but he didn't speak up during the meeting, but I will absolutely hold to the agenda, so not a problem.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comment? Yes, sir.
You know, there's nothing wrong with having public participation, just like Mike and I have traffic committee. We have a very big participation from the public in that meeting, and in that they are bringing ideas and issues to speak on. So we, not only do we encourage them to speak, and we give them time to speak, and, we invite them to stay and if they have something that comes up during the meeting, tell them, hold on to it, we'll talk to you at the end of the meeting, but, we'll answer their questions. But, it's, and that may be a rare case in the traffic committee, because we're not only dealing with the city streets, we're talking, also, we do deal with county roads and with state roads as well. So, so that's a little different, but I think you still have to look at what we're dealing with here and looking at public participation in it as well, because when we did Greg and Kim and I did that committee, there was a whole lot of public participation involved in that, so.
But the meeting is set up that way from the
That's
beginning.
Right.
And there, my problem is that there are people who would love to have their voice heard. And we've said, you have 60 seconds at the beginning. And then, the rules have to apply to everyone. And it was set up in that way. And so unless we change it, and I think the council agreed that that's how it would be set up. So, eventually, we're going to have a public representative when we get into the bigger group. And I'm sure there will be public comment. I'm not sure, but probably there will be public comment at the beginning of those meetings as well. Maybe, but like our finance committee meeting, the public can come and hear what's said, but they don't participate. And, if it's set up that way, that's the way it needs to be fair to everyone. So if we're having public comment, it applies to everyone. If we're not, then
Well, we are having public comment. I think what Kim's point is that there was a lot of domination from the collectively, because Holden's a part of it, so we were asking questions and popping back and forth and giving references. So our very first meeting, we didn't have public comments on there, and some visitors came, and at the end of the meeting, we did allow them to talk and to ask the questions they needed to ask. So that was outside the agenda on that meeting, but we allowed that to happen because I just, if this is the thing I'm going to get faulted on because I let somebody publicly talk, well, forgive me. But they talked, and then we found out what they were talking about was Holden was answering their questions for them. So really, in that meeting, he shouldn't have been answering the questions, but we allowed him to answer the questions, and then we found out that it really wasn't to do anything with the city, so we just wait, do it afterwards. So, yes, I understand why, considering what was said, I understand why Kim might have been upset with the meeting, but you should tell me during the meeting and said, hey, can we cut down on it? And I would have said, sure, understand, let's do it. But at this point, Kim and I have a disagreement on the committee anyway, so I think he's taken that publicly. So please forgive me to the council if I did not conduct the meeting correctly. Forgive me for that. But I do like to hear from the public, and so I think Kim just thinks there was too much public comment. So I will not do it again.
All righty. Any other? Okay, then. I had a motion made and properly second. Are there any other questions or not? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
What the motion is?
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry.
I think you.
Yeah, restate the motion again, please.
Try, okay? Because what we wanted to see was something from this committee by the first meeting in January. And at that time, that's the end of this committee, because it was at that time, that committee has done their job. They've passed on what they see as most important for us to start on with the larger group. So that committee disbands after the November or the December meeting. It's extended, and then at that time, we start the process of working on the bigger committee. Okay, that's my motion.
All right.
And that was seconded.
Madam Clerk, do you have that down, or do you need another clarification? Got it? Thank you. All right. So now, all those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Thank you. Next, we have Georgetown Municipal Water Sewer Service. Chase is up here with Lovo Incorporated for $15,900.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a purchase order for a replacement of a variable frequency drive, and this is a purchase order that includes the equipment, the installation and the programming. This is at wastewater treatment plant 2. It's, controls one of our aerators, which is necessary for our treatment process, and it needs to be completed ASAP. When we had the problem that we couldn't troubleshoot internal with staff, we called in Lovo to help us with the troubleshooting. So with they had already broken the equipment down and were doing the testing, we asked them to go ahead and do the work to get it back in service again as soon as possible. This is a necessary piece of equipment. So this is at treatment plant 2 in the amount of $15,900.
You have heard the request. Is there a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
The motion made by Mr. Hampton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Stone. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of the motion, item A, Lovo Incorporated for $15,900, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item B, Universal Solutions Incorporated for $33,008.40.
Okay, next purchase order, it is, we need to replace about 150 feet of sewer. It's currently 5-inch sewer. It's made of vitrified clay pipe. We need to replace that. It's in the vicinity of kind of how that street goes around and the sewer lines through Church Street and down towards Water Street. It's 111, 116, 118 Church Street is generally where the sewer is located. It's very old. I think that was originally put in with whatever the first structure was there on the street, and it was put in for one structure. Now I believe it has 6 houses that are all tied to it, and as every time somebody's come in, hammer tapped into that line, the line gets worse, and we can't even find fixtures for vitrified clay pipe anymore. We would normally bring this to you when I talk to you about CIPP lining the sewer. We would normally do that. This would be a great candidate, but the pipe's small and it's in bad enough condition we can't even camera inspect it. So we cannot do the what we would normally do is a very quick and easy fix of CIPP. So we just need to dig and replace this. We were having multiple problems in this area with these customers, unfortunately, just because of the condition of the pipe. Universal Solutions, they are one of our contractors that is in our annual services bids. That's a unit price contract. So currently we have 4 contractors that work under that one contract, and Universal is the cheapest within those bid prices that are publicly advertised for bid. So they had the lowest overall price, $33,008.40, and this is funded through our sewer collections system and manhole annual maintenance budget.
You have heard the request. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sames. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Minke. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of item B for Georgetown Municipal Water Sewer Service, Universal Solutions Incorporated for $33,008.40, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item C is Hazen for $11,600.
Okay, so this is related to our Eder Lane water line replacement, which is a smaller broken out project of the larger funded South Side water storage tank and distribution system upgrades. So I'll ask you to kind of go back to December of last year, 2024. We had a request from Bluegrass Baptist Church to, they needed some upgrades that are part of this bigger project, but they needed it quicker than what that bigger project is going to, when it's going to occur, when we're going to implement that. So they asked us if we could take some of that line work out to expedite that, to get them the level of service that they needed. It's going to benefit some other customers as well. So we executed agreement with the church, and the additional cost of that, breaking that out with 2 separate bid documents, 2 separate contracts, things of that nature, the church agreed to pay for that additional cost. And we brought that to you all last December. When we started that, we didn't know how many easements there would be because we didn't know where the line was going to go. Now the design is complete and we're finalizing permits and we're finalizing easements. We know that there are 4 easements that are required. We retained Hazen on price-based selection, but since we didn't know the easements, they just had to put in a unit price per easement. We know there's 4. It was within your council packet. We showed that as an additional fee, $2,600 per easement. And so we're ready to get them started. So that is for them to do the easement exhibits, do the surveying, do any research that we have to do, and then help us negotiate with the property owners that fair price. So 4 easements totaling $11,600. That's what we need to do for the next step of this smaller kind of breakout project, standalone project, if you will.
All right, you have heard the request. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sames. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second made by Ms. Brent. Are there further questions and/or comments?
Question, Mayor.
Yes.
Is Bluegrass Baptist Church paying for this part? Is this part of what we talked about before and they were paying for?
So what they're paying for is any increase of breaking out that project. These easements would have been required either way.
Regardless.
So the easements are actually our cost.
Okay.
But what they paid for through the agreement was any up fee for additional services for the standalone project.
Okay, got it.
We felt like that was the most equitable, fair to the benefited party, fair to the project that we were already going to be doing anyway. So
Like I said, I don't vote against the church, so I'm good.
I think you said that last
Yes, I
December.
did.
All right, are there any other questions and/or comments? All those in favor of Hazen for $11,600, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item D, Judy Construction for $236,172.45.
Okay, this is related to monthly pay app number 5 for work completed in October, I believe. And so we are now, as discussed, we're treating wastewater in our new process, and we continue to move more flow and more sludge processing from our existing facility to the new facility, and we'll continue to kind of ramp that up, moving more over the next coming weeks till we are 100% treating with the new process. So with all that happening, very excited and very pleased with the progress. We kind of look forward to 2 new project milestones that'll be in 2026, and that's substantial completion and final completion. So I'm happy with where we are as a budget, the budget remaining with retainage, that we continue to pay these pay apps to get this project to full completion, closed out, and that we have this asset for the community.
Mayor.
You have had a request, motion made by Mr. Stone.
Second.
Second made by Ms. Hambrick. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of item D, Judy Construction, for $236,172.45, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Yes, sir.
One quick thing, if I may.
Go.
This being our last meeting before Thanksgiving and leading into the holidays, I'd just say that while most of us, I believe, will be enjoying and celebrating Thursday, I'd point out that we'll have a lot of public workforce here at their post, whether it's our sworn personnel, police, fire, EMS, dispatch, public works, and selfishly, I will say you will have water and wastewater operators at their post in the field. So while while we are enjoying our turkey, just give them a thought in the back of your mind that they're going to be at their post, making sure that you've got the services that you need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that information. Appreciate that. All right.
Mayor,
Yes.
comment. Chase and I spoke a few days ago, and one of the things that I had said to Chase, we're talking about how to make the water company more friendly to the public so the public can understand what's going on with the water company and stuff. One of the things I had said to Chase about maybe on the back of the bills, because if you all have noticed, they've rechanged what the information they put on the back of the bills. But you know how when we get the taxes from the county, that they actually have the taxes broken down because you're really paying a small county tax, but it's the school that's taking up most of it, and it's kind of broken down. So I asked Chase, and he hasn't said whether he's looked into it or not, or will be able to, but if they could even put that on the back of the bills to say, this much goes for your garbage, this much goes for your sewer, this much goes for your water company, so where it's all tied together, sometimes I think it's a little confusing. So we just spoke on that briefly.
And absolutely, we're going to look into that. It is just limited to the amount of lines of code that it takes to within the computer program, how much we can put on there. And if we can make that happen in a more easier to follow way, we absolutely will. I think you and I talked about that you wanted to see percentage-based kind of breakdown, so we'll look into that. I haven't gotten to that yet, but we will.
I just wanted to tell the council what we had talked about and to try to get, because I hadn't noticed that the bills had changed on the back, but some of it I think could be taken off and put that in, or just like the little graph like they do on our tax bills kind of thing. So anyway, it was just a thought that I said to Chase.
All right. Chase, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Council.
All right. Next, we have Stacy coming up with the quarterly financial update. And she has sent you a packet, Council, that you have in front of you. And she will go through that. Thank you.
And I did give you a revised version. I made a couple of updates today based on some feedback. So first and foremost, before I get into this and forget, I did, Tracy brought a W-9 for each of you. I believe Megan had emailed those to you as well. If you so choose to and want me to take that back to Megan, if you needed a hard copy, you're welcome to fill that out tonight, and I'll see that Megan gets it. Otherwise, you can fill out the one she emailed to you directly to her, but I just wanted to make note of that. So we will begin with the quarterly financial report. Just trying to play with some formats and information here to try to give you all as much information as you need, and this will continue to be a work in process, a fluid process, so this report may change. Some additional information may be added as we go throughout the year, but just wanted to let you know that's why it looks a little different this time, and trying to give you just a little more information, including what we'd done before. To begin with, we just completed our field work for our audit, so I wanted to give you on slide 3, the next slide, a fiscal year 24-25 recap, just to let you know how we ended last year. We're still finishing up a couple small things with the audit. There may be a couple small adjustments, but all of these significant adjustments have been made, so these numbers should be pretty close to what they will be. Anything else would be minor. So on the next slide, just big picture, how did we end fiscal year 25? So our beginning general fund balance, these are our reserves, were $25.1 million as of July 1, 2024. Our fund balance increased in fiscal year 25 by a little over $6.8 million. And I'll talk about that and break that down a little bit more on the next couple slides. So our ending balance as of June 30, 25 should be just a little over $31.9 million. So that was the first thing. I just wanted to see that snapshot right up front of where we ended, and that we did end the fiscal year better than expected. As you'll see on the next couple of slides, this slide kind of breaks down how we compared to our budget. So our 24-25 general fund budgeted revenue was just over $40.9 million. Our actual revenue was a little over $56.4 million. You'll see that I've added, we'll talk about it more on the next one, but we had our net profits revenue exceeded our budget by $8 million. So that is the vast majority of this increase over budget. And we'll talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. But our expenditures, our 24-25 budgeted expenditures were $48 million, and our actual expenditures were just a little over 49.5. And I put those completion percentages up there for you to see. Our our actual expenditures exceeded budget, mainly due to our leased equipment payments and SPEDAs. So what this is when we lease a new car from Enterprise, we obviously budget for those annual lease payments in the department, but one of the accrual method accounting entries that I have to make is I have to record the full cost of that vehicle as an expense in the year that we first lease it, and I record corresponding lease revenue. So it's a wash, but when you see that final audit and you're looking at those final numbers, it shows up as an expense. If you recall, during the first budget amendment of the year, we added what I called were those non-cash budget amendments for that newly leased fire truck. That's why we're doing that, so that we don't have these instances where our actual expenditures exceed budget, because of these non-cash transactions. So that's why going forward, starting with fiscal year '26, we're starting to budget for those non-cash transactions. So that when you look at this, we're not seeing expenses over budget for those leased items where we're paying for them over time, but due to our generally accepted accounting principles and governmental accounting auditing standards, we have to record the full cost of the technology agreement or the full cost of the leased asset the year that we get it. So I know that's a lot of accounting talk, but just wanted to try to explain that. So we'll talk a little more detail about that on the next slide. So this was one of the new slides that I added from what was emailed to you Friday. So on overall revenue categories, and then obviously I pulled out our larger expenses, you can see, for example, property taxes, we budgeted a little over 2.7 million, brought in actually a little over 2.8, a $98,000 difference. I will not go through every single one of these, but these add up to the numbers on the slide before that. The ones that I want to call your attention to, as I mentioned, was net profits. We budgeted $3,250,000, and our actual revenue was 11.3, which is a difference of 8.1 million. And there's two reasons for this. Number one, we've received some amended returns throughout the year that resulted in some additional payments, larger than typical estimated payments. At June 30, 24, you all remember when we talk about every year, we have taxes deferred, taxes owed. We have some companies that'll file their return and they have a credit balance. So they've already paid us all the money, but when they go to file their return, their tax liability is less than what they've paid us. So essentially we owe them a refund if they choose to request it. Some of them choose not to request the refund. So we book that as deferred revenue during the audit. So at June 30 of 2024, we had over $6 million in tax overpayments, tax credits that people held on to. Throughout the year, filing of returns, we get to June 30, 2025, our tax credits are just a little over $3 million. So what that means is between June 30 of 24 and June 30 of 25, we get to recognize that additional $3 million as revenue. It's finally owed to us. They finally filed a tax return that showed they had a tax liability, and they used their credit balance to pay that tax liability. Any questions on that?
What's the current balance of credits?
I don't know the exact number, but it is a little over $3 million as of June 30, 25. When the Revenue Commission completes their audit each fall, their auditors provide that number for me as of June 30 each year. So as of June 30, 25, it's a little over $3 million, but I don't have the current number. So that's deferred revenue in the June 30, 25 audit when that's presented to you. And then one of the other larger ones that I want to point out, insurance premium taxes. We budgeted $7.3 million. We collected $8.4, so it was a little over $1.1 million above budget. As property values go up, as new properties built, all of that creates additional premiums, which we currently have a 5% tax on. 8%, I'm sorry, I misspoke, 8%. And lastly, again, talking about those non-cash transactions, the very last line you'll see, our leased equipment, our SPIDA. What SPIDA stands for in the accounting world is Subscription-Based Information Technology Agreements. So when we go out and purchase a software that we're going to pay for over the course of 5 years, and it costs $500,000 over the course of 5 years, I have to account for that like a lease. So what that is, of course, we don't budget. We have not budgeted that in the past because it's a non-cash transaction. Again, I have to book the full value of all 5 years' worth of payments as an asset, and we also get to book that as a essentially lease proceed. So there's an expense and there's a revenue that line up and match and wash each other out. So that's why we had a lot of new vehicles we leased from Enterprise. Those were, I think, over $2 million. And then we had our flock cameras, our body-worn cameras, just lots of different things. The Tyler Technology, cloud migration, all of that falls under the use of Aspida. So, again, we're going to do how we budget for that differently going forward so that we don't have these discrepancies, but they are non-cash transactions. But, like I said, at the end of the day, we have accrual method. We have to book these things kind of a little bit like a business does, not fully, but a little bit like a business does for financial reporting. Any questions on the revenue? And I just want to make one more note, but actually before we go on to the next slide. With the net profits, obviously those are often one-time or 1 or 2 year things that we don't see all the time. So when we budget, we try to budget for our net profits on the consistent revenue that we get every year, which has been around $3.5 million. So that's what we typically bring in. That inches up a little bit each year, but we don't budget for the big swings. Those we can't predict when those are going to happen. So I just wanted to make note of that. That when you're looking at that $8 million, we can't expect that to happen again next year. Hopefully, we would get to recognize the $3 million in credits that are sitting there at June 30 of 25. But again, we don't know until those companies file their tax returns.
That's what you call a nice surprise.
So, for the next slide, I did the same thing for the expenditure analysis. Again, this was between 1.4, 1.5 million that we were over. You'll see the negative numbers. Again, debt service, the expenditure, that is a lot of those. I want to use the police as an example. You'll see police was under budget by 1.8 million. You see debt service was over budget by 1.5 million. The bulk of that is theirs because we budget for our annual lease payments in each department is the way we've historically done it. So when they're making their monthly payments to their enterprise cars, it's in that 10, 210, 5590 vehicle account, which is in the police department. And then during the audit, I kind of zero out all of those and it all gets moved into the debt service. Again, that's one of those we may consider how we budget for that differently, may no longer budget for that in the departments. But that's why it looked that way last year. And then the citywide capital projects, again, that $4 million that it's showing over budget is due to those leased assets and the subscription-based information technology agreements, because I have to book the expense and the revenue for both of those. So again,
I have a question.
as we go through FY26, we're going to change how we budget for those so that we don't show those large swings. They're non-cash. It's not money we wrote a check out for, but it's an accounting principle that we have to account for, but we'll make sure that we budget to reflect those accurately.
Yes.
So any questions on the expenditures?
I may have missed it. On the interlocal agreements?
Yes. That was two things. Most of it was ambulance. They had to buy a couple of additional ambulances near the end of the year. One was wrecked, I think, and they split that between 2 fiscal years. So they billed us part of that during fiscal year 25, and part of that was in fiscal year 26.
Is any of that Park and Rec?
I'm sorry?
Is any of that Park and Rec?
No, the vast bulk of the majority of that is ambulance and I think Revenue Commission, because sometimes they
Okay.
change their budget during the year and it didn't get reflected in ours. So, no, it's not Parks and Rec. With Parks and Rec, we give them their capital projects. They are reimbursed for those capital projects
Okay.
as they complete them.
All right.
And very rarely have we had anything go over budget for that, and when it has, we've come back to council to ask for additional budget.
Okay,
And
thanks.
other than that, what we allocate to Parks and Rec and Planning and Zoning is divided into even payments over the course of the year.
Okay.
So no, it is not Parks and Rec. Okay, that is all I have for the fiscal year 24-25 update. So we're going to get into the fiscal year 25-26 first quarter update. So this is from July to September. And again, next slide, please. Again, starting with the big picture, talking about fund balance. Going back to that first slide, we are beginning our year, July 1st of 25, with a little over 31.9 million in our fund balance. The projected use of reserves for fiscal year 26, this is after that first budget amendment that we adopted in October. We anticipate using just under 3.6 million of reserves. So our projected balance, barring any future budget amendments, is just under 28.4 million. That's where we would expect to end this fiscal year as we stand today. Assuming, again, there will be variations in revenue and expense budgets, but that was the projection. The second category, and I added a second header here to show that these are kind of two separate calculations. The two tables don't feed into each other. But we have our 30% fund balance minimum policy. And what that policy says is our fund balance minimum is calculated on expenditures or revenues for the year, whichever's higher. So the reason expenditures are shown on this slide and not revenues is because our expenditure budget is higher than our revenue budget. So that's the number we use to calculate our minimum. So 50.7 million, 30% of that is 15.2 million. So our minimum fund balance, according to our policy, is 15.2 million. As you can see, we're projected to end with just under 28.4, which means right now we have an excess of about 13.1 compared to where we're projected to end the year. So the next slide, just kind of summarizing by department our general fund budget progress. This is one in the future. I'll probably do this one a little bit differently. I did have revenue all lumped together, so I'll make a separate revenue and expenditure slide going forward. But overall revenues, we budgeted 47.1. Through the first quarter, we're at 4.1%, complete is 8.8. The reason that is low is when you're looking at the first quarter, July through September, a lot of the money you're collecting in that first quarter, especially with insurance premium taxes, is for the previous year. Again, my accounting and auditing standards make me have to allocate that revenue to the year it belongs to. So for the quarter ended September 30th for insurance premium taxes, we don't start collecting that money until October. A lot of the money that's collected in July, whether it be for net profits or payroll taxes, belongs to the prior fiscal year. So this first quarter will never quite show a true 25% progress. So I just wanted to point that out. It looks low. Don't get scared of that. It's just the timing of when we actually start collecting. And then I broke down each department and where it is. And, typically most of them would be around 25%. Transfers, we do most of those at the end of the year once we see what actual expenditures are. So that's why that's 0%. Debt service, our big interest payments are not due until December 1st. So that's why debt service is so low. And so that's just kind of the biggest thing on there. Total expenditures, we're about 19.2% through the budget at this time. Okay, next slide. I wanted to keep those snapshots of the largest revenues that I've typically shared with you. So I just put them into the PowerPoint as screenshots so you can see, and apologize for the small font, but hopefully you can read it better on your handouts, the history from fiscal year 22 to 25. So for employee withholding, we budgeted 22.8 million through September. So these, I want to clarify, I went ahead on these and went past the end of the quarter. So anything we collected in October that was for the September quarter, I went ahead and added these in here so you could see the full quarter picture on these revenues. So for returns through September 30th, we've collected about 4.9 million, which is 22% of our budget, and we're running about 400,000 ahead of last year at this time. For the next slide, net profits. We're not to the time when most of the net profits returns are due yet, so it's always low this time of year. So we budgeted 4 million. To date, we've collected about 128,000, so only about 3% of the budget. But as you can see, last year at this point, we'd only collected 1% of the budget, so we're on target with where we typically are, and we're about 46 or 48,000 ahead of last year. I can't even see the number. Insurance premium taxes on the next slide. We budgeted 8.8 million. I went ahead and went through what we had collected again. For the quarter ended September 30th, the returns are due October 31st and then come in after that. So we've collected a little over 2 million, which is about 23%, which is about where we were this time last year. Usually for insurance premium taxes, the last quarter of the year is one of the heaviest. And right now, we're about 57,000 ahead of where we were last year. Property taxes, obviously, Tracy's office is hot and heavy in collection mode for that right now. But I just did it through the first quarter. So through the first quarter, we'd collected about 7,900. We had budgeted 2,989,000, and of course, showing a 0% because October to December quarter is when most of that revenue will come in. Next slide. We will talk about our project-specific funds, capital projects, a little more information. I'll incorporate it going forward, but a little more information on one-time versus recurring costs at our December 9th work session. But some of our other operating funds, dispatch, we're at about 20% complete on the revenue and 16.3% complete on expenditures. Alcohol fund revenue, again, pulling these straight from the quarterly report through September 30th. Again, this is a quarterly one that's due October 31st, but I've got the next sheet I'll show you in a minute. The expenditures were at about 28%. With this one, when we do our budget, we allocate 25% of the city clerk's office salary and benefits to this fund because that office serves as our ABC administrators. And then kind of whatever's left, which currently is about 14.5% of our police officers. So I don't charge any of the admin staff to the alcohol fund, but 14.5% of our police officers' salary and benefits is charged to alcohol. And basically, whatever we collect in that fund is what we will charge to it, just to kind of close it out at the end of each year. Stormwater expenditures currently at about 2.5%. That's very project-based. Got a couple of projects that we're still in design mode on, some other things going on there. And cemetery revenue, right now we're at about 4%. The reason that one is low, the city and county split the difference. Cemetery does not earn enough money to cover its expenses, so we bill the county and transfer money. Typically, in the past, it's been at the end of the year, so they're always going to look a little low on percentage for that. And about 17.7% on expenditures. Their expenditures probably look a little low. They do have $200,000 of their expenditures is for a land purchase, so that's why they're just going to run a little under the 25%. Again, we've talked about expansion needs at the cemetery, and again, I'm sure we'll talk about that more at our December 9th session as one of our priority items that we've budgeted for and how to get there. The next slide, I went ahead again, like I said, and picked up the collections through the first quarter of alcoholic beverage, and you can see that we collected just under $333,000, which is about 24% of our $1.4 million budget. And the last slide, at the Finance Committee meeting, it was recommended to give an update to you all on the ARPA fund. As you know, just a reminder, we were granted $9,219,845 for the state and local recovery fund from the federal government. We received that money in 2021, I believe, and we were given until December 31st of 24 to fully commit the funds, which we made sure we had all of our agreements and everything up to date. Council took some action on a couple of agreements for parks and things near the end of last year. And then we were given until December 31st of 2026 to spend the money. So you had to commit it by 2024, spend it by 2026. As you can see, all of our expenses for the ARPA fund are complete with two exceptions. We use this to kickstart the Office of Affordable Housing. The county does pay for half of that. So with the ARPA funds, we've been able to fund that office for 3 years. So fiscal year 24, 25, and fiscal year 26 will be the final year that we have used ARPA funding for that. And then the fire engines, we had ordered 2 custom fire engines. I don't know if it was 22 or 23. 22. They take a while to get here when they're custom, but we're expecting delivery in spring of 26. So we'll write one check for those once they arrive. So We will finish out our ARPA fund hopefully by June 30 of '26, assuming those fire trucks get here in the spring. So, and I did make a note at the bottom of mine for Marshall Park. We have exhausted the ARPA fund allocation for for those projects. So everything that's coming out of Marshall Park going forward is out of the general fund allocation. So.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead, Ms. Hambrick.
Do you use a specific software to make a lot of these projections, or how do you go about doing that, just based on past numbers?
Yeah, what we have two components to our software. There's the accounting, general ledger, maintenance side of the software. We use a company called Software Solutions. Their visual intelligence portfolio. In the last couple of years, we also purchased the VIP analytics. That's used for the budget development. It provides a little bit of history. So when you get your report that is part of the budget workbook, that comes from that VIP analytics. Typically, I export history from the VIP and kind of look at trends and data from it to help make projections for revenues.
Do any of those software programs incorporate AI?
Not that I'm aware of, but I would have to get some clarification on that. We've had those for a couple of years.
Yeah, I know a lot of advancements being made for this kind of thing with AI, so maybe it's something, at some point, we should start looking into. It might help alleviate some of the load.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you all.
Stacy, as always, thank you. All right, item number 11, Police Resolution Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Application. Chief Allgood.
Council Mayor, we just asked for y'all to approve the application. This is a grant that we've had for several years. It obviously helps purchase the body vest, body armor that our officers wear. So we give that to the new officers that we hire, and then they expire about 4 to 5 years, so we'll have to rotate those out.
All right, any further requests? At this time, I will entertain a motion.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Do I have a second? Second made by Mr. Stone. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of item number 11, Resolution Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Application, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 12 on council discussion, old business. Okay, no old business. New business. No new business. All right, council comments. I'll start here with Ms. Hambrick, if you will go ahead.
Wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has safe travels or good fellowship with their homes, and a safe community. Also, I find it very important to go ahead and get things like these vests, Chief Allgood. If I'm not mistaken, a grant came into play for the shields that were used recently in an encounter, which maybe helped save an injury at some level. So was that our shield or was that the county shield? Is it okay if he speaks to that?
Yes, he can.
That was actually the sheriff's office.
Sheriff's office.
That's a shield that you carry.
Yeah, I saw a picture of it.
So that was from the Attorney General's office through a different grant, but. Yes,
Do we
we're
have
very-
the same access to those?
Yes, we also benefited, just like the sheriff's office. We have several shields that I believe it was 6 that we were able
Good.
to get, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, it actually helped yesterday.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Final thing, thank you, Stacy. We're in pretty good shape. Thank you.
Mr. Menke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item for me. November 12th, I had the opportunity to be at the annual regional summit. Basically, from my business perspective, I've been involved in the regional planning activities and things like that. going back to 2010 when I was chair of Commerce Lexington, and we actually started that initiative for public policy purposes. And if you recall, the investment that the city of Georgetown has made in this regional aspect, this is the annual meeting that actually provides an update of kind of where we are and where we're going. And so I've got the summaries of that, and I will share that with the council because I think it's really great information. The state of kind of the economy that Ted Abernathy puts together for that shows some really great information, and we're beginning to see the fruits of the labors that we have invested in the 9-county region. You know, it says Lexington, but it's the Lexington MSA, and it's even larger than that. It's the 9 counties. And so I will share that with you, and I would encourage you to click on the links that are there because it covers everything from economic development to workforce development to tourism and quality of life things that are making this region something to attract more workers, which we need more workers in this community. And so it's just a great opportunity to stay up to date with what's going on and see the investment. This is the regional investment. If you recall, we also had a local investment, the Scott County Regional Competitiveness Area, and it dovetails very nicely with the regional plan, and it works together. So it just compounds our effectiveness and our priorities. So I would just encourage you to take a look at that. And if you have questions, I'm more than happy to help answer those.
Ms. Ames.
Not much, Mayor, just a happy Thanksgiving to you and to the council and to the public and our community. We have ups and downs, but we still have a very lot that we are thankful for. There's other communities in Kentucky that just wish they had the problems that we had to have to deal with. So just a happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and grateful that we're in this community.
Yes, Mr. Chris.
Yep. I want to echo everybody's thoughts on a happy Thanksgiving, and also a quick, great thing that happened last week. I wanted to thank Mr. Bruin for his assistance on it. We had a citizen reach out, and they had some bulk pickup of some tree items, and they had a miscommunication with, I believe, Republic. And as soon as I reached out to you, Mr. Mayor, it seemed like within minutes, Mr. Bruin had a crew over there with Public Works to take care of that issue and pick it up. I guess the citizen should have reached out to Public Works with the type of items that it was in the first place. But regardless, thank you very much for what you did. That citizen is incredibly happy. Heard from him multiple times, so we appreciate that.
All right. Mr. Stone.
I have nothing, sir.
Ms. Mitchell.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I also wanted to say that I think the Christmas tree looks great. I know everybody has differing opinions on that, but I love it. And tonight when I was coming in, the windows in City Hall are looking good, and the lights from the Christmas tree were reflecting off of those, and it was kind of magical. So I wish Lori was here because I think it looks great, and I'd like to tell her. So.
Yeah, and I am not going to be up there trying to light it up right now. Yes, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Just very quickly here, it is really believed as a direct result of the demolition of the dam at Great Crossing that Canewood and Payne's Landing subdivisions, they are experiencing an influx of coyote coming across the creek because, you know, as it was 3 or 4 feet deep. Now you can wade across it. So we've had anything from cattle on the 17th green to coyotes running up and down the fairways with, I've got a picture of one. Hopefully it's a goose, but I don't know. But I'm wondering if we can, since this is in the city, and there are a lot of children in these neighborhoods, and they're running across backyards. If we can maybe do a letter to Fish and Wildlife and ask for help.
Yeah, we can do that.
For that.
Yep.
So
we can draft something up.
Yep. And all I have is happy Thanksgiving to the mayor and council and everyone out there.
So my question to you, you didn't let them play through?
No, we any day now, we're expecting, well, we got Wile E. Coyote, now we just need a Roadrunner.
Thank you. Ms. Brent?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. That's all I have.
And again, thank you all for what you do. Happy Thanksgiving to all. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.